All right, welcome to this explainer. I am incredibly excited to dive into this with you today, because honestly, we're looking at a truly historic window of time. The research period we are zeroing in on is May 23rd to May 30th, 2026. This was the exact week where artificial intelligence didn't just make headlines, it literally forced simultaneous, massive global decisions across finance, security, and governance. Looking at the data we've curated from the macroeconomy AI channels, it's clear we're experiencing a true triad of transformation.
So that brings us right to the core question of our analysis today. How did artificial intelligence completely change finance and global security in just one single week? The pace of the technological and financial shifts we're about to explore is entirely unprecedented. We aren't talking about years or even months of development anymore. We are watching the world re-architect itself in a matter of days.
Okay, Section 1, the race of the trillions, focusing on financial movements and valuations.
Before we even touch the technology itself, we really have to look at the massive capital making it all possible. $200 billion. That staggering number represents the projected size of a massive IPO wave involving SpaceX, OpenAI, and Anthropic. It's setting the stage for a historic test of the capital markets. To put that into perspective for you, these three entities combined are looking to capture more capital than the entire total of American IPOs realized since 2022. Wall Street is about to be seriously tested on its capacity to absorb asset pricing for companies that require unprecedented intensive investment. OpenAI alone is projecting to spend $115 billion over the next 4 years.
Now, looking at the heavyweights, there's a fascinating direct comparison to be made here. Anthropic just announced a massive $65 billion raise. That is the largest private round in history for an AI company. This pushed Anthropic's valuation to $96 billion, which officially overtakes OpenAI's $852 billion valuation from earlier in the year. So, why does this matter? Well, because Anthropic is now positioned as the most valuable AI startup in the world right on the eve of their expected October IPOs. It's a massive, massive shift in market perception.
And here's exactly why investors are betting so heavily on Anthropic right now. According to the RAMP AI Index from May 2026, which tracks real corporate transactions, Anthropic has surpassed ChatGPT in paid enterprise adoption in the US for the very first time. They're sitting at 34.4% of the market compared to OpenAI's 32.3%. Anthropic's enterprise share almost quadrupled in just one single year. The strategic insight here is that corporate America is actively diversifying its AI dependencies, and right now, Anthropic's Claude is absolutely winning the enterprise trust battle.
Moving right along to Section 2, the AI price war. We're looking at speed versus cost.
So there's this wild paradox happening in the market right now. While infrastructure and model training are costing hundreds of billions of dollars, consumer and API prices are absolutely plummeting in this fierce race to the bottom. 75%. The Chinese startup DeepSeek just made a permanent 75% price cut to its flagship V4 Pro model. Because of advancements in their compressed attention mechanisms, along with Huawei's new chips, this model is now roughly 28 times cheaper than its Western equivalents for output tokens. This is a massive structural reduction that establishes a brand new historical price floor for the entire global industry.
But hey, it's not just about price, right? It's about speed and fundamental architecture. Google just introduced Gemini 3.5 Flash and their new Gemini Spark agents. Compared to traditional models, Google's new system is 4 times faster and 50% cheaper. But the real game changer here is the introduction of 24/7 persistent agents in the cloud. Gemini Spark runs continuously on dedicated virtual machines. It integrates tools and completes long-duration tasks without you ever having to even keep your laptop open. The traditional paradigm of logging in, typing a prompt, and waiting, that's quickly being replaced by autonomous, always-on AI workers.
All right, Section 3, risks, AGI, and vulnerabilities. Let's look at the hidden side of this acceleration.
This brings us to the more hidden side of the massive acceleration we just discussed. We really can't look at the macroeconomics of AI without impartially examining the profound micro-level risks, starting with just how fast the goalposts are moving. Let's look at the predictions of Demis Hassabis, the CEO of Google DeepMind and a Nobel laureate. Previously, the window for artificial general intelligence, or AGI, was thought to be around 2030 to 2035. But speaking in late May 2026, Hassabis drastically pulled that prediction forward. Because of the rapid success of those AI agents, he now predicts AGI could arrive by 2029. He notes that we are currently in the foothills of the singularity. And Hassabis actually went even further during a talk at Stanford, delivering this exact quote: "A species-level transition." Reporting on this neutrally, It is just vital to understand the gravity of how top leaders view this technology. Hesebus argues that this technological advance is moving 10 times faster than the Industrial Revolution, and he explicitly compares the global stakes and the need for international coordination to historical precedents like nuclear weapons and climate change.
To really grasp why leaders are so concerned, we just have to look at Project Glasswing. This is an initiative by Anthropic, where their Claude Mythos preview model was given controlled access to the systems of 50 partner organizations, including massive players like Apple, Microsoft, and Cisco. The result? The AI is now discovering critical infrastructure flaws significantly faster than the human capacity to actually patch and fix them.
The crucial takeaway here is the sheer volume, over 10,000. That's the number of high and critical severity software vulnerabilities discovered autonomously by the AI in open source and critical systems. Get this, it even found a 27-year-old flaw in OpenBSD. So what does this mean for us? The immediate threat is severe. While AI is an incredible defensive tool for finding these flaws, the sheer speed at which it identifies them creates a massive backlog. It highlights an immediate systemic vulnerability in global IT infrastructure where human engineers simply can't keep up with AI speed diagnostics.
Which brings us to Section 4, the challenge of regulation. Let's explore the global and local responses.
So, this is the human aspect of our narrative arc. With capabilities accelerating toward AGI and AI uncovering thousands of critical security flaws, how are global societies actually responding? Well, responses are coming from both the private and public sectors. OpenAI just published their Frontier Governance Framework, proposing industry standards for evaluating these massive models. Microsoft formally committed to new detection and removal mechanisms to combat non-consensual intimate imagery generated by AI reacting to growing legislative pressure. And looking locally at Brazil, the federal government is heavily pushing for flexible, risk-based regulation, with the critical bill PL 2338/23 entering a decisive voting phase in the Chamber of Deputies. It's a huge effort to balance innovation with necessary civil safeguards. But you know, regulation isn't the only societal challenge here. Access is another huge one. Microsoft's Q1 2026 data shows a pretty stark reality. While 31.3% of the U.S. working-age population uses AI, there is a widening inequality gap globally. The Global North sits at an adoption rate of 27.5%, while the Global South is lagging behind at just 15.4%. The strategic insight to take away is that while AI promises immense productivity gains, it's currently distributed very unevenly. This absolutely threatens to deepen existing global economic divides if it isn't intentionally addressed.
All right, final section, final analysis and legal disclaimers. Let's wrap this up.
We've covered a tremendous amount of ground today. To summarize, our research period spanning exactly May 23rd to May 30th, 2026 really represents a microcosm of our new reality. In just 7 days, AI forced simultaneous, critical decisions across global finance, international security, and governmental regulation. We are no longer just adopting a new tool, folks. We're being forced to completely rethink technology's overarching role in the survival and prosperity of our economic and social systems.
Before we officially wrap up, just a quick mandatory legal note. This explainer and all the data, projections, and market analysis provided here are strictly for educational and informational purposes. This content does not express any ideological bias and absolutely does not constitute investment recommendations, legal guidance, or financial advice. Always, always consult qualified professionals before making any strategic or financial decisions.
And that wraps up our deep dive. If you want to stay ahead of the curve on macroeconomics, artificial intelligence, and technology, make sure to follow the Macroeconomic IA channel. Access the links in the description below and stay tuned for our new publications. We are quite literally watching a species-level transition unfold in real time, week by week. The systems are getting faster, they're getting cheaper, and they are becoming much more autonomous. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought. If this is what happened in just the last 7 days of May 2026, what on earth is next week going to look like? Thanks for joining me, and keep learning.